This might be the craziest race weekend I have ever had inside F1 24. Changeable conditions throughout qualifying and the Grand Prix, and even a shock twist towards the end of the afternoon as well. Welcome everybody to round 15 of our F1 24 My Team Career Mode, where this weekend we're here at the Dutch Grand Prix. So sit back, grab some popcorn. I promise you want to stick around for this one, and let's get right into it. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 15 of season 2 of the F1 24 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here after the summer break, ready for the Dutch Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed that in the last video that went live from Belgium, honestly, I'm going to say don't go back and check it out. We had an absolute disaster of a race. It was pretty chaotic, though. Lance Stroll, being Lance Stroll, also caused a bit of drama as the weekend went on. But we have big news as we head into the second half of the year. We have finally got the B-SPEC version of the car. You can see immediately we have leapfrogged our way past quite a few teams, and we do still have a few more other upgrades as well that are coming onto it before the end, or before even the next couple of rounds of the season. So hopefully this is going to kind of bring the team up to the next level in terms of this year, as I'm hoping by the time we get to the end of the season, hopefully we're going to be a regular points contender, you know, with Checo as well. And then season 3, maybe, just maybe, we can try and fight for the World Championship there. Charles Leclerc now with a 28-point lead at the top of the table, ahead of Hamilton, who has a further 28-point lead over Lando Norris. It is still anybody's game in the Constructors' Championship, especially with how things have continued to ebb and flow over the course of the season. But it must be said, yeah, Leclerc and Lewis have just been that bit more consistent than everybody else throughout the season so far. Get yourself subscribed if you're new. We're trying to hit 5k subs here on the channel at the moment. And yeah, let's do this thing.
With partisan support that we rarely see anywhere else on the calendar, there is an incredible atmosphere at Zandvoort. We're setting the grid for the Dutch Grand Prix in qualifying.
Well, this is a very, very rare occurrence inside the F1 game, but Perez and I might be about to have a pretty good qualifying session here. The rain is meant to roll in very, very fast, so it's basically going to be whoever can get out on a lap nice and early is going to be the one that sets a decent time. And looking at it, Checo's got the jump on everybody. So, yeah, our teammate might be about to put himself on pole position, maybe for the first time this season, despite the fact he's had a Red Bull throughout most of the campaign. But yeah, we just need to try and make sure that we've got enough battery in the pack, because, yeah, this circuit, you can really get through a lot of it. But qualifying here is about to be unpredictable. And as we make our way then through the final couple of corners, you can see there's still loads of AI hesitating about whether it's worth coming out onto the track just yet. But this is the only lap we're going to be able to get in that is going to be dry running. And as we get ready to start it then, luckily, doesn't look like we'll have to deal with too much traffic there. We have got to be a bit careful though on the brakes. Oh, and the throttle, as that is a huge snap of oversteer through the first corner. Luckily, we were just about gathering up. But we have got to be more careful than that, as already we are absolutely throwing away our chance and scoring over. I believe that might be Lando Norris that's tucked up behind me. So, yeah, this is really... You don't get many of these in a Formula 1 season, but this really does add an extra level of spice to this game. And I mean, yeah, it could be Sergio Perez that takes an historic pole position for 212 Motorsport here, and maybe now is just starting to build up confidence. I mean, I'd love it to see the B-SPEC car playing pole position in its first ever outing. Admittedly, I think that would come with a rather large asterisk by it. But yeah, what is the time Sergio Perez going to be doing? I mean, theoretically, our lap time should be slower anyway. As there we go, our teammate does a 1:12.8. How far off that time are we going to be? Is it worth trying to go for a second run as well? The track's definitely getting worse. So I think we'll just try and make sure that we've got enough battery to try and go for another one here. But as we make our way out the final corner, you can already see how much the times are slowing down, as Hamilton will only just go quicker. And that goes to explain just how quickly the conditions are falling apart. The Merc barely quicker than our car. You just see as we try and put the power down out of these first couple of corners, there's nothing. There is absolutely not enough grip to try and do anything more. And this rain is just meant to get worse and worse throughout qualifying. So we might have ended up with a really, really good grid slot here. You can see a few cars seemingly able to go quicker. Zhou Guanyu up in P5. Russell, though, only good enough for 6th. But Pandemonium as loads of other cars now finally starting to appreciate that they have completely screwed themselves. Well, there we go then. After we tucked ourselves back up nice and dry inside the pit lane, we saw loads of other drivers head out on the intermediates and none of them able to get anywhere near close enough. Hamilton will take pole position by just a 1/10 of a second over Sergio Perez there. Tsunoda will line up third ahead of Oscar Piastri. Zhou Guanyu in 5th place as well. Ready for this one ahead of Russell and myself there, with Albon, Stroll and Carlos Sainz rounding out the top 10. You can see, yes, Sargent and Pourchaire still able to set their best times on the soft compounded tyre as well. That's quite the mixed up grid though. Verstappen's going to have his work cut out starting from P11, but I believe there are even more changeable conditions as we head into the race.
For years, the people of Zandvoort fondly recalled the Grand Prix they used to hold, and then came along Max Verstappen. Across Europe, the Orange Army sold seats and seats and seats, and now they have their own Grand Prix. It is time for race day in the Netherlands. 4 lefts and 10 rights make up the 14 corners of the narrow and demanding Zandvoort circuit, with plenty of peaks and valleys over the course of the 2.6-mile lap, which will demand absolute concentration from our drivers here today. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Tsunoda, Oscar Piastri, Zhou, Russell, Mr. Monaco, Albon, Stroll, Sainz, Verstappen, Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Norris, Ocon, Ricciardo, Iwasa, Sargent, Théo Pourchaire, Bottas, and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. It's race day, it's going to be a thriller. I'm Alex Jakes, alongside me is Naomi Schiff. I love this moment in the weekend. Put us in their shoes right now. What are they feeling on the grid?
It's a very special time for the drivers. It's almost like everything around you slows down and you become hyper aware. So your nerves slightly go up, your adrenaline's going up. It's the perfect time to start focusing on your visualizations and preparing for the race. So you want to avoid distractions and really stay cool, calm and focused.
Well, here we are then, down on the grid. It's P7 for myself, but Sergio Perez, I think, stole the show with that front row start, ready for the Grand Prix. But take a look at the weather. It is meant to be a dry to wet to dry race this afternoon, and looking at when that rain's meant to come in, I think actually starting this one on the harder compounded tyres might be the way to go, and then just waiting and see when that rain does arrive. Often when the conditions look like this, the rain actually arrives earlier in the GP than the game is originally anticipating, but it is just a question of how much earlier, and will anybody else have the same idea? Anything can happen here. There's going to be cars trying to move their way through from behind us towards the front. We've got to just try and defend for our lives, and I would love to see Perez get the first ever point for our teammate inside this series as well. Iwasa was never able to score. Maybe Checo can do it in just his 4th time of asking. It is 5 red lights here on the grid, and it's going to be lights out and away we go for the Dutch Grand Prix there, as you can see immediately losing a handful of spots down in towards turn 1. Soft compound tyres against the hards there. We never really stood a chance against Verstappen, Stroll, George Russell, and I believe, yeah, even Alex Albon able to make some moves there. But through the next couple of corners as we try and build up a little bit of temp in the car, hopefully we're going to be able to try and just start defending, as immediately we have dropped outside the top 10 there. Verstappen and Stroll side by side up the hill in towards turn 5. Will they be able to hang on to it nice and cleanly there, as Albon will get past George Russell, of course, the man that replaced him down at Williams there as well. Look at Sainz trying to get involved down the inside of Max, not able to make that one happen. So we will send it to the inside of the Ferrari car as well, and immediately get ourselves back into the points there. A frantic start to this Grand Prix as Hamilton, I mean, all he wants to do is try and stretch his legs at the front of the field there. As you can already see, yeah, Yuki Tsunoda in that V-carb car could be on for a day of days. Currently sat up in P3, and yeah, I mean, Zhou Guanyu's actually overtaken Oscar Piastri as well off the start, so that's absolutely incredible. Sauber, I mean, we saw them get a podium, I think it was all the way back at Baku in Season 1 of the driver career mode. I've never seen them do anything like it since.
This lap, we can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Joe immediately looks to be potentially losing that place to to Oscar Piastri. No, he will just about hang on that time round to the position. But luckily for us, pretty much every other car, it would appear, is on the softs. So hopefully that rain will stay away just a little bit longer. And then everyone else is going to have to pit. Annoyingly, I don't think there's going to be much we can do against Carlos Sainz early on in this GP. That Ferrari, I think, is just going to be a bit too quick there, as Tsunoda now is going to make the move on Sergio Perez. All I can really hope is that Zhou Guanyu causes loads of chaos as well, as Lando Norris will slip round the outside through the next couple of corners. I mean, a lot of these cars, whoa, we shouldn't really be fighting with, as Leclerc will say thank you, or kind of push me out the way there. So we tried to get down in towards an apex, and, well, a bit more touring car style racing that one. But the Ferrari driver will get by. I mean, we might end up dropping right to the back of the field here early on. Alonso now is about to line up a move as Carlos Sainz new fastest lap of the day.
1.7 seconds.
I mean, we have just got absolutely nothing in a straight line right now, as Owasa, our former teammate, the next one to be looking for it. Luckily, we were able to put the power down and hang it around the outside of him. I guess the other good thing is obviously the hard tyres, temperature-wise, will hang on better than any others, but have we got an ETA on that rain? Let's wait and see.
Expecting rain in about 10 to 15 minutes. Dries definitely seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
That could still be a little bit further away, but yeah, the AI, they're probably going to be able to make about 15 minutes from now. We've got to hope it's a little bit further, and I'll be about to lose even more places then as we make our way out of the final corner. Don't feel like the setup is particularly fantastic either, as here comes Owasa and Daniel Ricciardo in towards turn 1. I'm staggered every single car has opted for the soft compound tyre here, but this is often a circuit where the AI are very quick and not helped by their ability to look after the tyres temperature-wise. This circuit is very limiting as well. We're already down to P17.
Expect to see some rain about 10 to 15 minutes from now.
It's good that Mark doesn't think it's rolled in anymore. I mean, the problem we've got as well is we can't even stay in the DRS range of the car that gets in front of us. So now we've got Ocon and potentially Valtteri Bottas looking forward as well. I mean, surely we can't be that much slower than these guys kicking around at the back of the field. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult when obviously you are on 2 stages of harder tyre early on in the race, but these cars just are not working. Oh, we're about to lose another one now. Valtteri Bottas tucked up behind me. And we've just got no straight line speed either. Bottas will try and have a look around the outside. I mean, we're losing time by fighting all of these cars as well. Not that I'm able to put up much of a fight there. Valtteri now gets around the outside. And I mean, we are able to keep up with these cars. But Sauber's Hasses, are they really the ones I want to be able to keep up with? It's not that impressive, is it? Unlike Perez in the other car at the moment, that is still up fighting in the points. It might actually be nice to try and make an overtake in this Grand Prix. I think, yeah, we're now just starting to have a bit of fight in the car again.
What to do? Right, the gap to the teammate ahead of us, 13.7 seconds.
I mean, I guess the good thing with that is the idea that Perez, if he has to pit before it rains, then we will be out ahead of him. Problem I've got, though, is we're not going to be that far ahead. I think the delta around here is only about 20 seconds. But I think now the car's pace, these hard tyres are starting to work. Oh, that's good. Mark still thinks the rain is about 15 minutes away, so the AI definitely going to have to pit. Problem is, I want the AI to pit and then immediately that rain start coming down. Because, of course, they're still going to be on fresher, quicker tyres than me for every lap once they've come back out of the pit lane. I think, though, looking at it, Hamilton might already have the jump on me. That's fine. You know, I think to expect the win here was always going to be unlikely, as there goes Bottas again. I'm going to look down the inside at turn 1. This time around, you see we have just got a bit more fight in the car now. There's a big gaggle of cars just in front. I'm not sure who it is holding them up. Might be Alex Albon, but it's just starting to allow us to bring ourselves back towards Esteban. Well, it's sad to see, but I was always expecting Zhou Guanyu in that Sauber car to slowly drop down the order. And although his fall might not have been as dramatic as mine, he has pretty much ended up near us again early on in this race. So Zhou Guanyu, yeah, that Sauber car is just, for some reason, I think what's genuinely happened in this game is when Sauber got that down tune, Cody's never kind of, like, fixed it, so now they always just seem to be that much slower than everybody else. Even, you know, when they're developing at a decent rate and things like that. They are a team that I'm really debating going to in the driver career mode at some point down the line, just to try and see if we can do anything with that car and that organisation as well there. But we've already over 1/3 distance of this Grand Prix. Perez is still doing a really good job. He's still fighting for P3 here.
2.9 seconds.
So Bottas tries to have a look around the outside at turn 1. We do get the elbows out. That'll open the door for Hulkenberg on the exit of the corner. I think we'll refer that one as a Magnussen-style defence. Oh, looking at the skies above, it is definitely getting more and more overcast now, so that rain is starting to arrive around the Zandvoort circuit any moment now. But this should be the lap we start seeing AI into the pit lane. About lap 16 was when they're meant to come in for their box. Hamilton opts to stay out. But I mean, yeah, I think the Brit is, well, it's still early days in this Grand Prix. But the way he's driven throughout the first half of the afternoon, he absolutely deserves to take the victory. There we go. Finally starting to see AI in then. So that's got to be Yuki Tsunoda in that V-Carb car. That's going to be one of the first ones to blink. Well, I mean, we better be ahead of him. Otherwise, this has absolutely not worked for us early on this afternoon as we round our way out of the final corner. He's already making his way down the end of the pit lane. So as we can see, other cars diving in. This really hasn't worked the way I'd hoped it would. I mean, I think Tsunoda was still running up, fighting for that podium, but he's got ahead of me. So we might still be right down towards the bottom of the points, even when the AI have all boxed, and then we've got to try and defend on older, harder tyres. There we go, Lewis Hamilton into the pit lane as well then. I'm sure we're going to see others diving in the end of the lap. So you can see Tsunoda practically pushing Zhou Guanyu along in that Sauber car. Surely we're going to be ahead of Sergio here. Surely we haven't lost a pit stop to our teammate throughout the opening half of this Grand Prix there. I know the hard tyres aren't ideal. Hindsight is a beautiful thing, and we probably should have opted for the mediums. But surely we're going to elevate our way up the order a bit more there as Checo loses out in a handful of spots. There's Max Verstappen in his Red Bull, and we will just get around him.
Look into changing your ERS mode in the MFD for a more conservative burn rate, or you might want to try some lifting or gentle braking to recharge.
So Awasa then is still out on his soft compounded tyres, but yeah, basically now we've got to try and defend from everybody, because effectively we're on equal footing again. I think some of the AI know what's going on here. Yes, they do, as the rain starts to fall. See, Oscar Piastri's dived in.
Lap, give us the best in lap you can.
But George Russell, for example, has opted to stay out there. So has one of the Ferraris. I want to say that's Charles Leclerc, as Oscar Piastri is going to come out just in front of me as we go wheel to wheel with Lance Stroll. I believe Perez and Alonso are battling not too far behind either. But now the rain's starting to fall, and it is going to get incredibly heavy, incredibly quickly.
Track's getting wetter. Recommend you stay out for now, though. We'll be much slower if we move on to inters this early.
I think, yeah, it might genuinely be worth it at the end of this lap. It is meant to get incredibly wet, incredibly quickly here. So, I mean, even going for a one-lap undercut could make a huge difference by the end of the afternoon. I mean, look at the understeer through there. The car's already slipping and sliding about. I'll be honest, though, I think now is the time to come in. I'd rather be ever so slightly early rather than ever so slightly late in for this procedure there. So into the pit lane we'll go. We are going to be the first car out on the inters, and we might be about to lose just a little bit more time as well. But I just don't think, you know, that rain is going to be so heavy, so fast. I think getting over onto the inters is not a bad shout.
Perfect job from you and the crew there, mate. We're delighted with that. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go.
As we've got yellow flags out for one of the McLarens. Hopefully we're not going to get a safety car or anything like that. Otherwise that could give us some trouble. No. McLaren gets going again. Not too sure which one that one is, but how are these tyres feeling? I mean, we're not losing anything to Sargent. In fact, look at that, we're gaining. I think we've nailed this. So we might have absolutely perfected that call then into the pit lane here, because we're not losing it. I mean, look at that instantly against the Williams.
All of our tyre pressure data is currently reading 0. Assuming they still look inflated to you, we're going to guess that it's just a bad sensor. Shouldn't be anything to worry about.
Oh, we have perfected that. As still some of the AI at the front of the order opting to stay out just a little bit longer, but the team needs to tell Sergio Perez even, get into the pit lane right now. because the intermediates are working wonders as round the outside of Sergeant will go. I mean, surely... Well, yeah, the tables have really turned here, haven't they? And I mean, maybe we could undercut our way a little bit higher up the order now. We overcut in the first part. I'm going to try and undercut in the second, it would appear. But, whoa, a little bit of a moment there out of the final corner. Teo Porcher trying to cover me off as we go right down towards the inside wall. But surely he has got no means of defence there. Look at that. We broke later around the outside and got completely around him before we got into the apex of turn 1 there. Bottas and Joe up next. Yes, there we go. It is intermediate conditions then as we will power around the outside of the flying Finn. Joe and Hulkenberg up next then. So at least, you know, we're not going to be right at the back of the field for very long in this Grand Prix. But, I mean, this has just been chaos so far. I just really want to see Checo Perez get a good result out of it. And surely we're going to see all of our front runners in. Hamilton opts to stay out for yet another one. So I'm not really too sure. I guess Merc obviously don't really want a double stack there as around the outside as Joe will go. Are we going to see, yeah, everybody else, though, pretty much is going to be peeling into the pit lane at the end of this lap. Just think you're going to lose more time by staying out rather than double stacking as around the outside of Hulkenberg as well. I mean, this is not where you normally make overtakes. And I think, yeah, we should hopefully get the jump on our teammate again there as well. Look at the understeer. You just nudge the grass and immediately get met with a wave of understeer there. Don't bin it through the banking, please. We've got to try and keep hold of the car as best as we can. As where are we going to be back out then in this Grand Prix? There is Verstappen again. So, yeah, we haven't really lost anything to the Red Bull, so I think that's worked out nicely for us. And we are back inside the top 10. Oh, there's an Alpine just up in front going really slow. Esteban Ocon has been forced to stay out there one extra one, and you can just see he's got no grip at all in that Alpine down the inside of both him and Verstappen through the next corner there. Verstappen will make it through now as well as Hamilton, our race leader, into the pit lane then, so he's really lost out in all of this going on.
1.5 seconds.
So I think he will still re-emerge though in P3 of this Grand Prix. But I think, yeah, everybody now onto the intermediates. It was only Ocon and Lewis that tried to brave it. I tell you what's nice, for the first time all race now, it feels like we're on even footing against the AI. So we've actually got a good idea of just how well this new car is working. And I tell you what, we are taking time out of Lance Stroll at the moment. I know he's not exactly the world's fiercest competitor, but without DRS as well, Verstappen might find it difficult to get round me unless I make mistakes like that down at turn 1. But we can genuinely try and hassle the Canadian. I tell you what, we've still got more than 10 laps to go of this Grand Prix. It's not too late to see a switch over to the full wets. If it keeps raining as much as it is, we might see other AI make the call. I mean, apparently this race was meant to get dry again before the end of the afternoon, but I'm not going to hold my breath for that.
It looked pretty terrible, but that water is draining okay. I think the intermediate is going to stay the tyre of choice for a while yet.
Well, Mark said, yeah, the dry tyres were the ones to stay on. I immediately bought sprinters and were quicker than the AI, so not sure just how well I trust his judgment in these conditions right now. But as we round our way through the final corner, it's so difficult to try and put that power down and also get a run on the car in front there. We are definitely quicker than Lance, but if we could get around him cleanly and without costing ourselves much time, maybe Verstappen could get stuck behind him.
Losing a small amount of time to the car behind. Let's keep pushing.
Oh, Esteban Ocon out of the Grand Prix then. I think that's just been
Virtual safety car.
What's Stroll doing, man? Come on, get on with it. Well, no idea why Mark's reactions. Clearly he's using telemetry from Windows XP, but yeah, Stroll there really struggling to put the power down off of turn 1. Virtual safety car, though, in this Grand Prix. Oh, there we go. It's already ending. There you go. Already green flag racing once again. There is the stricken Alpine just on the side of the road through the hairpins. So annoyingly on an opportunity where anybody could be scoring points. Esteban Ocon, admittedly, it hasn't gone his way. But you never know what could have happened. So I think we've got more yellow flags out potentially. No one else breaking down at the moment. I thought maybe Verstappen was starting to struggle. What I have noticed, though, is that I believe... Is it Iwasa? All the way up in P4? I guess it must be. He and Tsunoda are really slowing down. So if we can get around Stroll, we might be able to attack them by the end of the race. I mean, the problem we've got is we just cannot get close enough to Stroll through those final few corners there, and that's what's compromising us getting the run off of that final turn. That Aston Martin got very good traction off of that final corner. You can see, even when we try and take some alternate lines, we still can't really gain anywhere near enough to him. And I mean, we're barely gaining a tenth or two down this front straight as well. Where on earth can we try and look for the move? So you can just see we're starting to struggle with front locking as well. So I don't think we're that far away from a switch to the wets potentially being viable. Not convinced anyone will do it though this late on in the afternoon there. As obviously any time we look for a move on Stroll, it opens us up. It's obviously Verstappen from behind who tries to put the power down and get up or inside, but can't quite make it happen that time round. Stroll though, this is where he struggles up at the top of the hill. Can we go right the way around the outside? No, we can't. But every time there, we take a good couple of tenths out of him. And I mean, this is getting frantic towards the end of the race. So that is not what we wanted to do. Got wedged over the curb, and Verstappen, he'll say thank you very much. Oh, Stroll, huge lockup down at turn 1. And I was just about to moan at Mark for keep telling me to try and overtake when all I've been doing for the last 20 laps or so. But Lance Stroll now with a huge moment down at turn 1. I mean, he's still going to be up inside that top 10 there, but surely Verstappen and I now can go and hunt down Tsunoda and Iwasa here towards the end of the day. I mean, look at that. Verstappen again, though, gets a huge slide at the top of the hill. But is it worth just letting him kind of do his thing and hoping that he takes enough time out of those cars? Well, Verstappen is definitely faster than those cars in front, but is he fast enough? You can just see again, every single time we get way too caught up under the gearbox of the car in front through there. He's taken a good half a second out of Tsunoda, but the problem is I can't get round him. So even if I felt I could catch Tsunoda, it's kind of an irrelevant statistic. No! What? No! At the very last moment it could happen! I cannot believe it! After how hard we've worked throughout that race, I cannot believe that. That is chaos. Absolute chaos. I was not expecting that. And we are out of the Dutch Grand Prix in an instant. Points were possible, not only possible, but they were almost guaranteed that stage of the Grand Prix. And while clearly the B-SPEC car is much faster than the original, but it's got its own major problems.
British driver will look up and see the checkered flag first. George Russell takes the checkered flag.
It's not every day that we get to see such incredible wheel-to-wheel racing. Next time, they might consider making it easier for themselves, but today, we absolutely loved all the action that we got to see out there.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
George Russell then will take the win here at Zandvoort ahead of Sainz and Lewis Hamilton there. Iwasa beats Tsunoda from 18th on the grid. Iwasa will come through for P4 in the end, beating out Yuki Verstappen, Leclerc, Norris, and both Aston Martins rounding out the top 10. But in case you guys didn't know, it is impossible inside the F1 game to get a mechanical failure in the last 2 laps. So it literally decided about 10 seconds before it was impossible anymore that we would have a mechanical failure and get robbed of good points in this Grand Prix. The same can be said for Sergio Perez there. Drove a really good race, but ultimately was just at the wrong place at the wrong time when all is said and done. But ultimately, yeah, it ended up being not too many major surprises there. I think Yuki was probably the one big shock in all of that. And that was even on the 2-stop, so he just had good pace all afternoon there. That does mean, though, in terms of the championship fight, the gap at the top cut down to just 20 points between Leclerc and Hamilton there, as Russell and Lewis here will make big gains on Ferrari in the Constructors. Lando Norris still in P4, though, amongst all of that, ahead of Alonso and Verstappen there, with Perez still ahead of Piastri and myself, and Stroll and Yuki making some gains there as well. Could we still lose to Iwasa by the end of the season if he keeps driving like that? Then anything is possible. Ferrari, though, that gap at the top cut down to just 34 points between them and Mercedes. Red Bull get back ahead of McLaren as well, though, with a big result this weekend. And Aston Martin still ahead of us and VCarb as well, with just Kick Sauber yet to score a point. But thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and maybe, just maybe, the new car will survive next time out at Monza.